Alrighty, folks, we are going to actually let the tables turn. I usually interview Mr. Stephen Dow, but he has some questions about the economy and the Fed. So, Mr. Stephen Dow, I will leave it to you.
Thank you, sir. Again, although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel, that of my own. So let's get it going. Mainly, I mean, all the news with, yesterday was Fed Day, and all the metrics came out pretty favorable that I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And the Fed didn't make any moves. It was just kind of like, I mean, the market was kind of expecting it to some degree, but it seems like Powell, I don't know, maybe just from my opinion, he's trying to throw a monkey wrench in all this stuff because it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
So we got to break this apart because unfortunately, we need to talk about, everything around the Fed, and I think it starts and probably stops with President Trump, right? President Trump clearly has been asking, demanding, blackmailing, I mean, whatever, for lower rates, right? He wants lower rates. He thinks lower rates are the key to the golden era.
Right.
He thinks that, well, again, it really could. Unfortunately, lower rates could hurt. But we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
So what I would ask most people to do, because anytime you talk about President Trump, just saying Trump pisses off half the world and the other half loves him.
Little triggering. To certain people,
yeah, a little triggering. So let's just say President Biden. Let's just say Biden or Kamala or Bush or Clinton or Obama or Nixon or Kennedy or any other president. Let's put that person as the president today. And I'll ask you this question. If you know what the Fed's job is, right? The Fed is supposed to be the buyer of last resort. They're supposed to come in and, quote unquote, save the economy, come in and protect us from evils like the black swan of the GFC or the .com crash or whatever. Typically speaking, I have never known a Fed to cut interest rates when the economy is growing and the economy is doing well. So let's look at the numbers that just came out this week. GDP was 3%. That's above trend. Now you could argue that's the import-export nonsense from Q1, but still 3% is above trend. You could look at the job market. The job market, the last report was 4.1%. It's expected to go to 4.2% tomorrow. When I was going to school, Stephen, full employment was 6%. It has now been lowered to 5%. If you're not confused, 4.2 is a lot lower than 5%. So clearly, on the surface, the job market is okay.
Right.
Then we got inflation, PCE, the Fed's favorite inflation reading this morning.
Right.
And it's gone up 3 months in a row. So I ask you, if there's any other president of the United States other than Trump, the economy's growing, the job market is solid, and inflation is rising, why the hell would you cut rates? I mean, just logically speaking.
I guess I could see your point.
Now that's just economics.
I'm just more like self-serving because the rates.
Well, no, I mean, there's more to talk about. You're absolutely right. The housing market has been in a recession. I would argue it's in a depression right now. The pending homes or the existing home sales last reported earlier this week or the week before were 3.93.
Right.
That is a lifetime low if you adjust for population. That's not good. The housing market is not healthy. New home sales disappoint. Pending home sales disappoint. Cancellations up. Delistings up. There's nothing going on well in the housing market. The housing market is very tied to debt. And we've been at these rates for roughly 3 years. So you're in, whether you like it or not, you're in the real estate game. And you're strong. I mean, it's tough.
Right.
Even as good as Velocity is and all that stuff, the fact that the pie is 40% less big hurts. So it makes perfect sense that real estate agents, real estate investors, mortgage brokers, title, escrow, appraisers, painters, they want lower rates because they're dying. We're in a depression in real estate.
Right.
And, it's real. We got 12% of the economy that's sick. It might be in a coma. It's so bad. So I understand exactly where you are. But if you step back and logically ask yourself, GDP growth, good. Unemployment, good. Inflation rising. Meme stocks rising, crypto rising, stock market at all-time high. I mean, we're lucky he's not raising. We're lucky that the Fed didn't raise rates. They could have. Growth good, employment good, inflation bad. They could have raised rates yesterday. That would have been bad. That would have been horrible.
Yeah, no, for sure that would have been horrible. Yeah. I'm trying to go the opposite way. So yeah, anything going up, I was like, no. Bad,
yeah,
bad.
I don't know if you remember this, but Jamie Dimon was in Europe at some conference, and he was asked a question about rates, and something that most people missed. And Jamie Dimon's no slouch, right? He's no slouch. He's got access to information that you and I can only dream of. He said that there's a 40% chance, 40, that the next rate move is up, not down.
Yeah, I mean, and he kind of knows what he's talking about usually. So,
I mean,
wow.
I again, Jerome Powell said yesterday, I have the quote from this morning, "You're lucky we're looking through inflation because we could have hiked rates." Jerome Powell said that during the Q&A. So I think a lot of people in real estate, like yourself, like me, like others, want lower rates because we know it will get transactions going. But, the Fed's not there to fix housing, right? Jerome Powell was asked about housing lots of times. He goes, hey, that's not my job. The fact that we have underbuilt housing for decades is not my problem.
Right.
He's like, go look over there. And the other thing that Trump says all the time and people go batshit crazy for is they blame Powell for not lowering rates because of our national debt, interest specifically on our national debt. Right. I think Trump has said, Powell needs to lower rates 300 basis points. It'll save us $1 trillion or something. And I'm like, well, first off, I'm not sure that's true, because if we don't remember, the Fed lowered rates 100 basis points a year ago and rates went up. So if we were going to lower the Fed rates, and it's no guarantee that rates are going down, you could actually screw this thing up and look like if Jerome Powell would have been a wet noodle and bent to pressure and cut, I would have bet $1,000 rates went up, not down on the long end.
Right.
And that's not what we want. You and I really don't want to. I mean, you and I can give a rat's ass about a Fed rate cut. We want lower mortgage rates.
Right.
So if the Fed cuts and mortgage rates go up, that's not good for you. That's bad. That's bad for the economy.
Well, how do I put this? We're going like gangbusters. And so I'm just more greedy, I guess, for lack of a better word. I mean, we're on like record highs. You know what I mean?
Well, it makes perfect sense that velocity
of loans into the pipeline every month so far. We're funding, $200 million each month of our type of paper. I was just like, I want $300 million. You know what I mean? This is a fun conversation. First and foremost, the reason Velocity Mortgage is crushing it, and you should, is because you're a make sense lender. Right.
You don't rely on some stupid artificial box. You don't push a button and approve eligible or not. The loans make sense, and you have great customer service. You're faster than everybody. I've used you, so I know what I'm talking about. Multiple loans. So it makes perfect sense that Velocity is crushing it. But here's the thing that you maybe know, but I don't think the audience does. One of the reasons you're crushing it is 60% of your competitors have disappeared. Right. So if volume goes down 40%, but your competition goes down 60, you win.
Well, it wasn't really a competition in the sense where there were other lenders that had different products. They weren't in the same lane as ours. It's just that, what we do, it kind of defaults in the sense of like, after all those other loans have failed or those other lenders went away and those products are no longer available, they kind of default to ours because ultimately, we're not kind of using the same metrics that they use to qualify people. So, and we're expanding on the, exception basis parameters where, we're making some pretty good exceptions nowadays with the right borrower. So, but it was just a fun kind of question to ask. And
no, there's a couple more things. Let's just keep it. The other thing that was interesting about yesterday is we had two Fed presidents dissent. Typically speaking,
talking about that after like 259 meetings, there was never been a dissent. And
two dissents. Two dissents.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So again, we've got some people that clearly want cuts, clearly are auditioning to be the next president, right? They want Powell's job, so they're trying to work that way. I think what was most interesting is the odds of a September rate cut were slashed. Going into the meeting, the highest I saw was 66% or 68% that we'd get a cut in September. As Jerome Powell is in front of the microphone basically saying no, the odds are now under 50%.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah. So again, folks, it's there's a chance. I mean, folks, remember my call for the year was no rate cuts all year. I made that in January. And we're getting really close to the end of the year. That might prove to be a wildly correct call.
We're going to blink an eye and we're going to be like October, November already. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we're already past half the year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so crazy. It's just
like it's August 1st tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. Like, where do you go? Like, I got to stop working so much because some days I don't even know what day it is. So I think I told you offline, whatever. There's some weeks I don't even leave the house. Like I literally don't walk out the door. I'm just working all the time. You know what I mean? So
yeah. We need to get you some work-life balance. We got to get you a girlfriend or two.
Yeah, maybe. But then that's just going to distract away from me making money, and I love making money. So.
Oh, you're amazing. Well, if somebody wanted to reach out, get something started, fix and flip, 50, 40, 10, all these other great products from Velocity, how do they reach out?
Email is going to be the best. sdow@velocitymortgage.com. In the subject line, please put the acronym ORAAT. So you make it past the firewall. Body of the email, brief description, what you're looking for, mid-FICO score, best phone number to reach at, and I'll be in touch. Typically 24, 48 hours. I was kind of sick this week, been fighting the flu because it's the end of the month and I can't take any time off, so it is what it is. I will be getting back to everybody I missed earlier this week today, so expect a phone call from me today. So other than that, yeah, we're really going gangbusters, man. We funded a $6.5 million loan for a single family this month.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And normally our cap's around like 5 million, so it was for the right bar. We're making some nice exceptions for people. So I just want to throw out there, for larger loan amounts, typically from this channel, because smaller mom and pop kind of investors we're usually on the lower end. But just in case if anybody's watching and they invest in those higher type price ranges, call Uncle Steve. He's around.
There you go. There you go, folks. sdow@velocitymortgage.com. Only 5 letters in the title, ORAAT.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, buddy.